Hello, hello. This is gonna be a chill one. I have a few little writing ideas that I've been toying with. I have a blank document, and I'm just gonna see what happens. See what we can do. Ba-ba-ba-bum. So feel free to hang out as much or as little as you want to. I'm just gonna write away and see where we end up. Ooh, a title. Ooh, this is the title I've been working with. We'll see if I keep it. I don't know. I'd like to write... Oops, I hit my microphone, I'm so sorry. I'd like to write a story... let me move this over here. Let me get this out of the way. I want to write a story with a couple concurrent, non-chronological storylines. Hello! Hello, Farky Hen. I really can't help myself. I want to write a story with a couple concurrent storylines. Non-chronological concurrent storylines. You heard what I said. I said Farky Hen. I want to do... I'd like to use the, Awakening of a Dragon. Hear me out. I want to use the Awakening of a Dragon beneath a really big, prominent city as a, metaphor for... Oh, social and environmental ignorance. I want it to be a city that is really rife with greed and just a very audacious people. And I want that to lead to basically them ignoring the warning signs of something coming from the land that they live on. And then it basically erupts. In this world, in this setting, the way I have it in my head, dragons get born underground, just like born of the earth. So imagine like a pocket of magma, dragon is born there, and then it just kapoofs eventually. Except it's an incredibly, incredibly rare event. And so it supersedes the living memory of humans. So they ignore it, it erupts, they have to deal with the consequences. I want it to follow a couple characters in particular that have some more direct implications with the consequences. And with having ignored it or not ignored it. I'd like one to be a child. This is what we're rolling with. Let's see what we can do. How much detail do I want to put into what this place looks like before I write? Maybe none at all. Maybe I just make it up. I have a very vague image in my head. Let's just start with... That's a good beginning. Hang on a second. I want to make sure I have my paragraph settings the way I want them. Lines and paragraph settings. Let's do double. Let's do custom spacing, before and after, line spacing, apply. I think that's good. I think that's good. Okie dokie. let's fucking get to it. Can't spell. Oop. Let's also do justify. Thank you. Move like liquid and towers evaporated like. I think when towers evaporated like. Not sure I like that, but I'll come back to it. Do I want to use yards? I come up with a little fake system of measurement for another book. Why don't you use that instead? I'm putting some 700. Let me just say that for now. I'm opening some 700 paces. It's an expensive street material. I could do marble. Next spiderweb through once gleaming. Marble streets. Spider-Man in gleaming marble streets. I don't know about marble. Expensive street materials in history? Archaic? I don't know. Ancient roads to perpetual pavements. Asphalt magazine. Stone paved streets. Followed by Romans constructing. Okay, this might be helpful for me. Or maybe not. Not. Most expensive building stones. Archaic. Granite. Maybe I just go with marble for now. Maybe I'm overthinking. Oh, Sudoku. This is beyond the earth ground, cut of a protest. Crack spiderweb, thermals gleaming, marble streets. Can you spell it? Multi-storied? Streets and multi-storied. Hello? How go the things today? Well, I've just started a new story, so we're feeling it out. I'm starting it off with a big bad citywide cataclysm. How do your things go today? Oh, cracked spiderwebs, 2 months of gleaming marble streets, and the multi-story buildings on... I said buildings. Multi-story buildings. On either side were leaning inward. Cracked spiderweb through once gleaming marble streets, and the multi-story buildings on either side were leaning inward, poised to... Poised to what? I'm going to say this and we're going to move on. Came with a great title this week. Not sure if I'll write the story to go with it. They got what they asked for. A hero summoning gone horribly, horribly right. Interesting. That is a fun title. Not sure if he'll ever write the story to go with it, though. What types of stories do you normally like to write? I'll say that for now instead. I can't say I've ever read a story where a hero gets summoned. Is that a common thing? I've just missed it. Furious, that's a good word. Every step of the stranger's furious. Every step of the stranger. Every. This line is stumping me. I just reached out toward them, finger displayed as if he could halt them, as if he could save them from their doom. Every step of the stranger's furious. Escape. Really popular in anime these days. Japan loves the concept of taking a high school, which is their university, student and dropping them into another world as a so-called hero with overpowered cheat abilities and such. Rising of the Shield Hero is a prime example. Interesting. I did not know about this. I have not watched that much anime. I've watched Full Metal Alchemist and Avatar The Last Airbender. I think that's the extent of my anime watching. But okay, I get what you're talking about now. And so in this case, it would just be a very morally sound student. Maybe too morally sound student. Yeah, I've enjoyed the anime I have watched. I just haven't watched very much of it. Does Delicious in Dungeon count as an anime? Watch that. I feel like I watch a lot of Western takes on anime, but not like actual anime. I've watched Castlevania. That was a fun one. Do you have any recommendations for someone not versed in anime? Where to begin? Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood was a crazy undertaking because that was like 76 episodes. Castlevania is totally an anime. You've watched Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood? Oh my god, what a story. What a story. There's so many scenes from that show that just like are rooted permanently in my head. Hey, Nightbot. How are you? Okay, then I'll include Castlevania in my list of animes I've watched. I'm also watching Castlevania Nocturne right now, although I'm only like 3 episodes in. It's not hooked me as much as Castlevania did, to be quite honest yet, but I'm giving it a chance. I'm giving it a chance. Full Metal Alchemist is probably one of your favorite shows. I had no idea you'd watched it. It's a really, really good show. Very haunting show. Oh, that's a very good point, Sean. What do I like in a story? I tend to like a good fantasy setting. I tend to prefer something fantasy over modern, and usually over sci-fi too. I tend to prefer a larger cast of characters compared to focusing on one character. And I do tend to like things that deal with somewhat spooky or darker tones. It tends to loop me in well, like Castlevania or Full Metal Alchemist. I like a little bit of an edge. Harem pro or con is never a question I've been asked before. You know what? Either. I would really have to see it in a story to know what I'm getting myself into. I don't know. But I'll try anything once. What is a grip synonym? Search a word or phrase. Grip. Grasp. Restraint. Okay. Let me see what I have so far. Let's change this. From his vantage over the stranger's shoulder. I hope vantage is okay and not vantage point. Oh, playing. He cascades a rebel from his vantage over the stranger's shoulder. Let's make sure I'm not lying to me. Okay. Yeah. Perfect. Let's get rid of the passive progressive. Wait, nope. Oh. Leaned. There we go. Nightbot, calm down. I need to change how often Nightbot sends messages again. Really enjoyed Takeaway smartphone. Let me look that up. Wait, I've heard of this. Somebody's recommended this to me. Guy's accidentally killed by God, who feeling guilty resurrected Toya in another world with various races and magic. He's allowed to take a smartphone with him, which lets him read or watch anything from Earth's internet. Wait, that's such a fun concept. This is something I've thought before. Wouldn't it be crazy if you had like a piece of technology and you were thrown backwards in time, and not exactly the same thing because it's a different world, but if you were thrown backwards in time and you like showed a Victorian child a modern music video, what would happen? That's cool. I have definitely been recommended that before. Hold on. Let me write this down. Ba-ba-bum. Yes, I have been recommended this before. In another world with my smartphone. Is the dub any good, or should I like lock in and watch it with subtitles? Sometimes I think subtitles are the way to go so you get the original inflection, you know? It just depends on how good it's done, how well it's done. Pushing out the straighter shoulder, straight and movable. Came up with a concept a while back. Guy plays his copy of an old fighting game. When the female character he's playing doesn't respawn, she vanished from all media worldwide. Instead, she, who was always sentient, awakens in a medieval world without life bars where death is permanent. Picture Sonya Blade. Now, who is Sonya Blade? That's a very cool idea. Sonya Blade. Movie character. Oh, in Mortal Kombat? I've never played Mortal Kombat either. Vision impaired, so you go dub all the way. That's good to know. That's good to know, because not every show has a good dub. But no, that's fair. That's what the dubs are for. Japanese voice actors aren't subtle in their emoting. At times almost comically over the top. People reading for the dubs are almost too subtle to the point of almost sounding... Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. That's kind of why I enjoyed Dungeon Meshi, if you watched that. I feel like they did a good job dubbing it for a Western audience, but keeping the kind of over-the-top nature of how they originally do that voice acting. That was pretty cool. Blossom? Blossom synonym? Blossom? Similar. Spikes? Floris. What is this? Verb is in bloom. Flourish. We can use flourish. Erubescent. Flourishes. Distance similar. I see messages. I'll check them in just a sec. Distance similar. Erubescent flourishes. Normally test out the dub because sometimes the dub is not good. Like putting shows on in the background though, so sub can be difficult. Yeah, see that's the thing. That's the thing. We should start using a vocoder program for voice acting so the American reader can read in a copy of the original actor's voice. A man and one woman could read all the parts, then it's about acting skill and not matching the voice. Only vocoder that I know is in music. Because I make music and it's the one where like you have somebody's voice and you set a chord progression underneath it and then it replicates the voice on the different tones of a chord. I assume that you're talking about a different vocoder. Yeah, see, okay, here's the thing. I get deeply invested in shows. Like, deeply, deeply invested. And so there's a couple that I've had on in the background before, and usually those are ones I end up watching again so I can actually take everything in. But typically, if I'm watching a show, I'm like... I am locked in. And so I'm fine with the non-dubbed versions most of the time. Most of the time. Be a combination of vocoder and voice modulation. Take any input voice and match the recorded voice pattern when you speak. Interesting. Is this a thing they do? Or is this just conceptual? Something specific in this. A landmark. The straight of here to the left is one of the something. One of the towers of something. Towers of the... let me look at my document where I have things that I drafted for this world. I'll pull a name out or something. Straight of here to the left is one of the towers of the... Let's do Gem Warden. Change of here to the left is one of the towers of the Gem Wardens. Don't know how they do it now, but I know they can do it. Some movie studios do things similar in post-production, and the line needs to be redone so they can match the original sound despite recording in a studio. That I do know some part of. I do a little bit of sound design. And so I have had to do the, like, you know, you have to match this sort of thing to this sort of thing. I've definitely never done it to that degree, where it's like a whole pattern of speech. I've shifted things around a little bit to affect timing, but usually it's just like you make one room sound like it was recorded in another room by, like, you know, tweaking EQ and adding effects and such. But that's really cool. I did not know that was a thing. Movie magic. Or TV show magic. Whatever the case. Let's do spitting? Spitting? Some of the time across the spot. Oh my goodness. Thank you, Celine. Thank you for the raid. That's amazing. Hello. Welcome. We're writing a story about a kind of a natural disaster. Oh my goodness. Thank you for the follow, Chucky. I really, really appreciate it. This is brand new. We just started and this is the entirety of the story right here. Basically a city collapsing at the moment. Oh my goodness, Sean, thank you so much for the follow. I really appreciate it. Welcome. Oh my goodness, Celine, thank you for the follow. Nicomancer, thank you for the follow. Yes, brand new story. I did a little tinkering with it recently, but it is very, very fresh. Were you working on a story as well? Now let me scroll up because I miss a message. Edited one story into proper chapters with corrected spelling and punctuation, then rewritten a story from high school and tried to write a third story, but it didn't turn out well in only 5 chapters. Keep going, you know? That's good. The more writing, the better. The more writing, the better. Stories, I love stories following. Well, I'm so happy to have you. Have to come back and look at it in a bit? Absolutely, whenever you would like. We were reading Winnie the Pooh. Oh my goodness. I love Winnie the Pooh. My mom has a Winnie the Pooh tattoo. It's like Pooh and Piglet holding hands walking into the sunset. It's the most adorable thing. Did write a quick 100 words per one of the redeems, so that might end up as something more involved soon. That's awesome. Writers, I must follow. I must follow you guys. You do streaming? I'm gonna give you a follow. You stream writing? Natural disasters. I love natural disasters, then thought better of it. That's so real. That's so real. I do love natural disasters. I don't know if this is a bad thing. This is probably because I read Hatchet as a kid. I was talking to somebody else about this recently. There's part of me that's like, I need to be in a natural disaster so I can survive it. I don't think that's healthy. But it's such a real feeling. You post your own work anywhere. I post on Royal Road. Ooh. Can you send me something that I can check out? I would love to check it out. I have not posted my work anywhere. I'm trying to query an agent for a completed book right now. That is the current goal. This is my procrastination book, so I'm not working on the query letter. I'm working on this story instead. This is the second procrastination book in the last month and a half. But I'll get it done. I'll get it done. Yeah, it is a very cute tattoo. No streaming for you, you just watch. Well, I'm so happy to have you here. You more read things out loud than write on stream. Though the latter could be fun sometimes. I mean, reading streams are great too. Absolutely. Yeah, Hatchet. The rest of the Brian saga, I don't remember them all that well, but I had the whole set of books. It was like 4 or 5 books or something. I read them all multiple times, but this was when I was like a little kid. I would have been like, I don't know, 7 or 8 when I read those books. I was pretty young, and I don't think I read the original one since one time, but not the rest of them. Brian's Winter, I really loved Brian's Winter. I feel like that's part of what did it to me. It's just like the surviving. Did something to my brain. Pick an agent that already publishes similar stories? Absolutely. And then I have to like change the query letter for whatever agent I'm submitting to like, you know, appeal to their particular taste or whatever facet of the book I want to present more forward to them. You have some aftercare to attend to. You're so welcome for taking care of your people. You have a wonderful night as well. And I will give you a little follow. Boop. Brian's Winter was a what-if story? Really? Maybe I need to go back and read these again. When I read it as a kid, I did not pick up on that. You're so welcome. But that actually makes a lot of sense. The most recent story had Brian hunt a bear and implied he'd found a potential wife who was native and lived the same way he did. There's more of those stories? Are they still going? Hold on now. Hatchet, Brian, Saga. Hello, Pebble. Welcome. Did you come in from the raid, or are you just dropping in? The writing goes pretty well. We're working on a brand new story right now that's is kind of just dropping in. Well, welcome. We just had a little raid as well. It's a cataclysmic disaster is what I've begun to write, and it's only this long. I don't know how many pages because I have it on pageless right now. How many Hatchet books are there? Boxed set. How many books? How is your night going, Pebble? What have you been up to? You've been writing your own story too? What have you been writing? Would love to hear. Gary Paulson is great. I love My Side of the Mountain and its sequel, Frightful's Mountain. I feel like I read My Side of the Mountain as well. I read a lot of Gary Paulson as a kid. A lot of Gary Paulson. Other novels in the series include. Is that all of them? There has to be more, right? The series concludes with Guts, the true stories behind Hatchet and the Brine books. Oh, that's cool. That's very cool. I've been snacking on peanut butter M&Ms. You want to know something? I'm deathly allergic. 24/7. Thank you so much for the follow. Welcome, and I hope you enjoy hanging out with us. Believe what I could best describe it as a mythological folk tale akin to Greek stories of young gods. That's cool as hell. That's cool as hell. So yes, I am allergic to peanut butter. So enjoy them for me. The closest I can get is sun nut butter, made from why am I completely blanking? Sunflower seeds. That's as close as I can get. But I've been told it tastes kind of similar. Greek stories of young gods reminds me kind of I run a D&D campaign, and I've got this element in the campaign where there's like gods, but then there's also something that I call walking gods. And they're kind of like demigods, like they're the child of a god, but they are still very much a god. But they walk around in a human form, or, you know, elf form, or whatever race they happen to be. And so you can physically go find them. They are bound within a body, forever, permanently, immortally. And so some of them wander around, some of them end up as the rulers of cities. It's a really, really fun thing to play around with. Slowly beginning to build my mythos as I go. Only got the prologue and first chapter. That's exciting though, that's something. That's a lot more than a blank page. But even then it always needs editing, always. Editing never ends, it never freaking ends. Are links allowed? I have my link to the full list of my fictions ready if I can post it. I actually don't know. But you can give it a try. And if Nightbot deletes your comment, if you go to the About section on my Twitch page, and scroll down, there should be my email. If you want to send it to my email, I can post it anyways. I can defeat Nightbot. I'm allowed to post links. But sometimes Nightbot is a little iffy about it. I do also have a Discord, yes. We do a little writing, we do a little gaming, and all the links and everything and clips and everything all end up in there. You would have had to set it up so links weren't allowed. That's absolutely true. I have gone back and forth with Nightbot so many times. I've given Nightbot more things to do and less things to do that I have no idea what Nightbot even does anymore. Could you put a writing channel to share our work? I think I have a channel that's called like The Library for if you've written something or read something that you enjoyed. It's pretty fresh. I don't think it's been used just yet. But if you jump into the Discord, feel free to pop it in there. Nightbot does get angry sometimes. It's true. It's true. But yeah, Pebble, if you want to hang around, feel free to jump in the Discord. Feel free to hit the follow and hang out as long as you like. Nightbot is just doing its job. Nightbot used to be a bully. Nightbot did bully some people. Thank you for the follow, Pebble. Welcome. This is so sweet. You know, I was like, I did a Skyrim stream earlier today, and I was a little sleepy afterwards. And I was like, should I do a writing? Should I do writing tonight? I don't know if people will watch writing tonight. And then there's a bunch of new people for writing tonight, which is so nice to see. Skyrim is great. The last time I played was like 2 years ago. I didn't finish the game and I've forgotten like everything. So it's almost like I'm playing for the first time again, which is kind of fun. You have to like re-explore, re-experience everything again. Playing Oblivion Remastered made you want to write again? I've seen, my roommate has been playing that game, and I've seen some stuff of it, some little images, little snapshots, little gameplay, and it looks really cool. I might try it at some point. But that's awesome. See, the worlds are so rich. It is really, really inspiring. The link posted, it's showing for you. Only have 3 complete fictions up there. 1 single chapter of a fanfic proof of concept how the series could be restarted today if they wanted, then a few incomplete stories. That's really cool. Did the link work for me? I don't think I see a link. It might have been eaten by Nightbot. Post the story in the Discord. I will definitely check that out. Hang on, I'll bring it up on my phone so I can save it. And then I'll have a little read later. Only problem is the hardware requirements for Oblivion were an issue for you. Oh, that makes sense. Those are big games. They're beefy games. You built the new PC? That's talent. I don't know how to do that. That's really cool. Oh, I see you in the Discord. That is a cool title. That is a really cool title. Okay. I'll have a little peek at that later. Took me a whole day, 12 hours. Learning experience for sure. Yeah, that certainly sounds like it. I don't know. I feel like I'm one of those people where, like, here's the dichotomy. Is that I am my friend's tech person a lot of the time. I'm the IT guy. Thank you, Nightbot. I'm the IT guy. And so my friends end up coming to me for advice on, like, what do I do with this technology or whatever. And then I try to do it myself. And then I'm also the person for whom technology always breaks. I don't know if you have this experience, but I feel like I touch a piece of technology and it just stops working. Those two things don't go together well. You also play Tiny Glade? You got a bunch of hobbies? What is Tiny Glade? I've not heard of this one. Do you stream? You do? Well, let me give you a follow. Not very often, that's okay. You know, if I can catch it, I'll catch it. Boop. Oh, your profile picture is adorable. I love that so much. Oh my goodness. Reposted the link in the library on your Discord. Perfect. I love to see it. Let me check that out as well. Tiny Glade is a chillaxing city builder. That sounds right up my alley. Let me look this up. Royal Road. I see it. Okay. Saved. That's really cool. Well, welcome in, you guys. What was I gonna do? I was gonna look up Tiny Glade. Let's look it up on the computer so we can see it together. Tiny Glade, very freeform. Wait, I've seen pictures of this. I've seen pictures of this. Can post some of the stuff I've built. I would love to see. See, what I like in a game the most is a little bit of like sandboxiness. So I have a little bit of free reign. And I like to not have to do combat all the time. Combat sometimes is fine if it's a game like Skyrim. But I like to be able to like veer away from it if I want and veer back towards it if I want. I get bored if it's like all hacking and slashing, you know what I mean? Just building, no resources, no time limits. Oh, that's perfect. See, I also do a lot of building on Minecraft. I love building. Tiny Glade game. Let's look at some screenshots. Oh, it's beautiful. Look at this. Look at that. How much is Tiny Glade? How much is Tiny Glade? Download PC demo. Oh, $14.99. That's not bad. That's not bad. I was playing a little Squirreled Away as well. Another cozy little game. Okay, let me know if you post pics. I'll give them a little look. Okay. Where was I with this? Straight rear to the left is one of the towers of the Green Gem Warden, split across the middle, splitting bricks. As of wagons into the smoky air, tremors from the impacts rattle through Cyrus's bones, and the spray of rocks and marble and ash thrown up by their displacement. Reduced. I'll check chat in just a second. To something of grays and reds, to something. Reduce the visage of the collapsing street and widening chasm to something of grays and reds. That's good enough for now. I have my thought down. Aberrant Core is a modified dungeon core story. Guy finds himself in the in-between space of his last life and his next one. He's told he must become a dungeon core and refuses adamantly, not wanting to be a murder maze. What in the world is a murder maze? When the purpose of cores is explained, he asks to become something new, a city core, to create a stronghold for sentient races rather than a hunter. There's so much going on here that I don't know what it means. What is a murder maze? He must become a dungeon core, not wanting to be a murder maze. Assume I know nothing. That's a safe bet. Displacement. Reduce the visage of the collapsing street and widen the chasm to something. I'm imagining billows. What's a synonym for billows? If you played Diablo, that's a prime example. I've not played Diablo. I've not played that many games. I play Minecraft, and I've played a little Skyrim. And then I play little indie games sometimes, like Repo or Phasmo. Billows. That's not what I wanted. Visage of the collapsing street and widening chasm to something of grays and reds. Let's try splashes, which is not the word I want, but hopefully it'll get me closer. Splotches. Let's try splotches. To blots. Smudges. Smears. That's a good one. There's Sudoku again. to smears of grays and reds. Well, now I've changed my grays around. Should I have them both E grays or both A grays? What was the other gray that I wrote? Let's just Control F gray. Let's change it to E. EY feels better to me. Oh my goodness. Well, are any of the rest of you guys here writers? Though, of course, if you would prefer to just be hanging out and do a little lurking, then please. Lurk away. Dungeon, this concept is magically created space, with sentient controller arranging the floors and creating monsters, assigning loot from the monsters defeated. Okay. The lure of loot brings in adventurous delvers to try and claim the loot. While the dungeon's goal is usually to kill the delvers and consume their life energies. Good lord. I get what you're saying now. So instead of being like murder May is gonna consume people's life forces, wants to be something new. Turning trope on its head again. Yes? That's the idea? Yes? Pebble kind of a writer? Kind of dabbling in more writing? No, you had said you were editing stuff before, right? You had said you were doing the little mythos building. Technically working on a short story type thing right now. What is your short story? I really struggle with short stories. I think I'm too verbose. Even a novella is a challenge, and then a short story is difficult. It's so hard. I've written a few, and it's so hard. Well, your Tiny Glade screenshots are gone. A tragedy? Just posted a shot of a town I made. Let me have a look. Oh my goodness. You made that? I want to live there. That's beautiful. It feels so cozy. Base it off the French city of Carcassonne. Oh, I see it. That's really cool. Oh, I see it. Well done. Very well done. Okay, let me check out these story ideas. I know what I want to happen in specific events, but the beginning and setup are killing me. I realize I have a lot more world building stuff to figure out than I initially anticipated. I feel you. Okay, let me tell you a quick side story, okay? So I've written a few books, and one of them, a whole series that I like meticulously planned out so much world building. Like I have, gosh, probably close to 100,000 words written just about the world, which is too much. I went too far, but I also spent like years and years prepping, which you should not do, for the record. And then the one that I wrote most recently, I planned nothing. I had 2 character ideas and a very, very vague singular setting idea that I'd come up with like at the very beginning of the pandemic. And I was just like, I'm just gonna go. And I started writing, and the whole world just like fell into place. I didn't have to do the planning. And then when I understood where it was going, then I went through and I like, sorted it out and fine-tuned it and made sure everything actually worked together. But I just improv'd it as I wrote it and stopped thinking. And it worked. It was crazy. The function of the cores in this world are to filter miasma, which is the byproduct of using mana to cause magical effects. Without the cores, the world would become toxic and all life would end. As the first ever city core, he's given quite a few concessions along the way, altering from the traditional system to make a functional society within his protective embrace. That is a really cool idea. Plants and pants. I don't know what that means, but plants and pants. I'm sorry, you guys. It is late. I'm doing my best. Okay. Where do I want to go with this? Over here to the left is one of the towers of the Gem Warden split across the middle, spitting bricks the size of wagons into the smoky air. Tremors from the impacts rattled through Cyrus's bones, and the spray of rock and marble and ash thrown up by their displacement reduced the visage of the collapsing street and widening chasm to smears of greys and reds. Also, let me know if music is too loud at all. I don't have my earbuds in for this because I'll get distracted. I just wanted there to be music if anybody else wants to listen to it, so let me know. Collapsing street and winding chasm to smears of greys and reds. I need a little more time to stew with that in my head. Writing style of plants. Oh, right. Like the gardener versus architect sort of thing. Planting seeds, writing little nuggets of lore, to then write a fully story versus pants. You just go by the seat of your pants. Absolutely. Yeah. I guess I've done both now. Both are very fun. Goddess Aphrodite must really like your vibes. You've fallen asleep curled up on a pillow next to me. She's my grand kitty. And her dad, King James, is loafing on my desk. Oh, that is so sweet. I'm so happy she likes the vibes. King James and Goddess Aphrodite. Those are incredible names. I just put my little pet to bed a little bit ago. Her name is Leaf. She's adorable. And right now she is napping. But every once in a while she says hi on a stream. You never know. I really need to start the next paragraph. I'm a little bit stuck. Major view to the left, along the tower, and the sun against the middle. Visage, I know that it is displacement of the visage. Collapsing street and widening chasm to smears of greys and reds. Let's add in other senses. When I get stuck, other senses are good. Thus. Pluma what? As a dust surged into Cyrus's mouth. and throat. Let's get rid of the last part. Mouth and throat. My story's prologue is told through the journal entry of the protagonist's grandfather. It starts at the final entry and with a mysterious message. That's really cool. That's very, very cool. One of the books I wrote, it wasn't really journal entries. It's like, there's a character that you never get the POV of and you don't really see much in the story at all, who's having a conversation with another significant character. And so then the words that he's saying are basically spliced throughout the book at the beginning of each chapter. Well, not each chapter, but a lot of chapters. And then like slowly it pieces together a conversation. I love it when a book does something like that. I don't know if you guys have ever read any Brandon Sanderson, but he does a similar kind of thing where at the beginnings of chapters there's like in one it's a bunch of journal entries that you're slowly going through. There's also this book Gallant that did a similar kind of thing with art. Like it's from a journal, in-world journal, but it's like literal drawings that are supposed to be in the journal, and then eventually you hit them in the book. It's really cool. Hey Raymond, what's up? How's your night going? We're doing a little writing. The pants kind, soft world building, and let the story flow wherever it takes me. I think you get to a lot of cool places like that. Often surprised by an event not having suspected the story without going myself. Absolutely. The story, the characters, they have a mind of their own. Sometimes they know what they want more than you do. I do love me a good set of pants. Writing's like polishing rocks. The rough draft is just picking the rock out of the river. You got 4 tiers of polishing before it's good enough. It will never be perfect. You'll always find something you dislike and need to change, or an addition you want to make. That is so true. That is so true. It never ends. It never ends. It's just more polishing until you're like, this is beautiful, and I'm content. I'm happy with it. Because you can always tweak more. You'll always find reasons to tweak more. If you're jumping in right now, I'm slowly but surely just starting a, it's a kind of cataclysmic story that I'm up to tonight. We've only got the first little bit here, but there is a city that is kind of being broken apart by the emergence of a big old beastie from underneath it. That's the premise. Not the premise of the whole story, but where we begin, at the very least. Well, it is kind of a lot of the story, but that's a vast oversimplification. But it's all I'll say right now. What's the word I'm looking for? Is it miasma? Oh, I got rid of my thesaurus site. Miasma. Synonyms. Maybe miasma is not what I'm thinking of. What's miasma but it's not fumes? Physical miasma. There's water in your column, hanging flags of black goo, gunk. Other owners. Queen Violet, who is Aphrodite's mom, Empress of Nihonja, and our newest owner, his royal hind ass, King Richard, the lion's fart. What a regal name! They also own a red-eared slider turtle named Rose, some unnamed goldfish and snails. Morass, that might be the word I'm looking for. You have a whole little zoo. That's amazing. I really want to get a cat one day. I gotta get a hypoallergenic cat. I fear I'm allergic to everything. I do think morass is what I'm looking for. Morass definition. Let's just make sure it's what I want. Here you have muggy bog or ground. It's not always ground though, isn't it? Isn't it goop? I'll say ground. I feel like you could use it to not mean ground. I can't be making this up. It just all says swamp. That's very strange. It's a synonym of swamp. Hello, Brick. Why did I just not even notice your message there? Phlegm, maybe. Maybe phlegm. Actually, phlegm could make sense. What happened to me words? The difference between cat people and dog people. Dog people own their dogs. Cat people are slaves to their cats. Yeah. Yeah. But see, I kind of like that relationship. That's okay, Brick. Hang out as much as you want to. Or as much as you're able to. My own animal, a sugar glider, is very similar. It's like a... Not dog-like. She's very like, when I want to hang out, I'll hang out. And when I don't want to hang out, I won't hang out. And that's just the way it is. And when I want food, I must be fed. And when I want pet, I must be pet. And when it's time for you to stop petting me, it's time for you to stop. But I enjoy that. I enjoy that relationship. Sludge, muck, quagmire. Yeah. Well, you're, what, hours ahead of me, aren't you? Go to sleep. Go to sleep. I'm gonna put phlegm here for now. It's not the word I want, but it's a placeholder word that I'll come back to when I want to. Sleep is for the mentally exhausted. Respect those eyelids. Yeah, get your rest. Get your rest. Hey, Nightbot. Truly restful and dreams inspirational. That's beautiful. Where did I shot? Rubbing them in an effort to ease their stinging. There we go. That's a paragraph. Writer's bedtime prayer. That and I'm an oldish man, so my body has difficulty with the truly restful part. I hope you get as good rest as you possibly can. I may not be an oldish man, but I have hypermobile joints, and so they're very rude to me. So I can at least partially feel you. Partially feel you. I love the idea of a writer's bedtime prayer, though. That's nice. Wait his eyes shut, rubbing them in an effort to ease their stinging. When he opened them, his world was tilting. Keening to the side as the stranger threw him with a merciless thump into the bed of a wagon. I might use a not horse from my other world and I put it into this and steal it. I actually might do that. It's basically a horse, but it's not a horse. There we go. Let's add a little more. Panai. Hey, Nightbot. Nightbot, calm down. I need to have words with Nightbot again. He's doing too much. He's doing too much. Let's change this to wagon. Keep it the same. No, I abandoned along with the wagon, bucked and cried. What's that called? The seat? Mounted the wagon seat? Isn't there a name for that? Name for the driver's seat of a wagon? Stagecoach? Stagecoach driver's seat name? I see a diagram. Driver's box? It's not the boot. Is it just the box? Driver's box. Boot. Driver's box. It's a driver's box. The more you know. Stranger mounted the driver's box. goodness sake, another word I don't know. What's the um the thing that connects a harness to a hitching post? Is it just a hitching rope? Hitching rope? Hitching rope name? Types of hitch knots. Rolling hitch. I'm just gonna call it a hitching rope. You can't stop me. The lead! Thank you. It's a lead. I see other messages. I'll read them in just a second. Change your mount to the driver's block sand with a swipe as a blade. Beautiful. Lead rain. Very good to know. Sounds like you could do with a sensory deprivation tank experience. Oh my god, I would love that. My physical therapist recommended that to me. Your body would be perfectly supported by intensely salted water at body temp cut off from sound. The only light if you want it. Starfield projection. That actually sounds lovely. That sounds lovely. My physical therapist. I'm only talking about my physical therapist on stream. My physical therapist said that I should do a sensory deprivation tank if I have the funds. I think that's something that I would have to save for. Yes. I think that would be a fantastic experience. And I would actually probably really love the star projection. Oh, I can definitely understand how that would make somebody uneasy. How many words we have so far? Display word count while typing? I wouldn't be opposed. 368? That's not that many. It feels like we've written more than that. Okay. Don't think it's too expensive in terms of hour-long sessions, but it's finding one and getting there. Yes. I also do admittedly live in a very expensive place. Big, expensive city. So those things tend to not be very cost-friendly. But when I can, I think that'd be cool. What time is it? Goodness, it is 11 p.m. But I keep going. I'm not stopping. Raising his arms upon its lip. Raising his arms upon its lip. Lip? Hours? Getting back the ruddy glow and avalanching stone that had hours ago? I feel like minutes is too short. That's fine. It should be cheaper for me because most people are commuting. Oh. Near Portland, Oregon. To travel there to visit one or go to Seattle. That makes sense. Yeah. There's an anime along the lines of what you're writing called Magnitude 8.0 that was really good, very emotionally charged. Let me look it up. Magnitude 8.0. Mm-hmm. Only 11 episodes. Wow. Okay. I'm focused. Focused and writing. He was held at the side of the wagon, bracing his arms upon its lips, staring back at the ruddy glow, an avalanching stone that had hours ago been his home. Poor little boy. Oh my goodness. The trauma. How dark do I make it? I think I go all the way. I used jostled already. Jostled. No, I have not. Oh, and I'm in a different document. Help. Let's not do that, actually. I can learn. Brought that up in case you find yourself blocked. Might get some hints watching that for things that could exist. Yeah. Always good to get inspiration from art. Is Victorian era or earlier? Probably a good bit earlier. This is a tricky one because I don't know how much I've explained while everybody's been hanging out on the stream. It's too... I'm trying to write the story with two concurrent storylines, non-chronologically. So there's one story happening before this is taking place, and then there's one story after it's taken place. So the intro scene, I want it to be this happening, and then there's the before and after that I want to, how do I describe this? Thematically be affecting one another, even though they cannot story-wise affect one another. But you can still pick out the themes and the characters and the story and all of that sort of stuff, what they experience past versus present, and what that means to them. So, as I'm doing this, part of what's blocking me is trying to consider what sort of setup I want to put in this for that. Which is a little challenging to articulate, and I think that I'm kind of settling for the moment on just like, get out a visual, get out a scene, and then I can add more of that stuff later if I choose to, once I have something on paper, so to speak. I think that's probably the move. But I'm trying to think ahead as I'm doing this. It's just sometimes I will have a habit to think ahead so much that I do kind of freeze myself a little bit. We getting ugly. We getting ugly, but I think we need to. Okay. That's what they did in Magnitude 8.0. You see the almost ideal lives of the MCs, then the quake hits, the moment of the terror, the aftermath, knowing aftershocks are coming, and all the effects entailed. So from a near paradise that only seemed rough to a moment of pure hell, and then what rough really is going forward. Yeah, that is very similar. Very similar. I just want to have those stories happening in parallel. I want to have them happening in parallel. And that will be the trick. I've not written a story like that before, but I can envision it, right? I can see it in my head. I can feel it in my head. I just have to not overthink. I have to not overthink, and that is a struggle. Have you read Jean M. All's Earth Children series? Starts with the clan of the Cave Bear. Did my Spotify give out? Did our music go away? No, it just got quiet. Okay. Very well researched series and so good. The characters are ones I genuinely... I have not heard of this before. Earth's Children series. No, I've not heard of these books. Orphaned Cro-Magnon girl raised by Neanderthals. That's cool. Historical fiction / alternative history. I'll put that on my list. This is a very small thing, but one thing I'm kind of excited to go right eventually is apparently people who have been close enough to a volcanic eruption that has had fissures open prior to an eruption hear whistling. The fissures whistle, which is really cool and very eerie. But that is not a today thing. That will have to wait. Is that a thing? Fishtailed a term then? I don't know, but I'll put it down. No, people dislike AI in terms of artistic endeavors. Came with a writing exercise that makes perfect use of it. First, you make an accurate list of your own character traits, input those into the AI, have it generate a perfect nemesis for you. Then you write the story of yourself fighting that nemesis somehow, understanding that even opposites do the same action or avoid the same action but for completely different reasons. That is a very cool idea. I think you can execute it without AI. Coming up with a nemesis. Trying to defeat it. Cool writing prompts. We never need AI to make a writing prompt. He did not deviate even as the wagon fishtailed. Cyrus relinquished his ears to grip onto the wagon's sides, cracking open an eye to glimpse what waited ahead. And the long white grey hair of the stranger snapping in the wind. Snapping in the wind? Snapping in the... Is there another word for wind? Blast, blow... What is a Chinook? Mistral? Gale? Chinook. The wind. I guess gales? I don't know. That's what I do. I overthink too much. I'm thinking of the character trait list itself. As it would be quicker to come up with the polar opposite of your input traits than looking up in a dictionary. Once you have that list, you can create the character itself with ease. I mean, true. You can look it up either way, right? Technically, we use the term advection for wind. Advection. Advection. Wind, breeze, zephyr, chinook, shiraku. I feel like I'm trying to get a particular feeling with it. Advection, transfer of heat or matter by atmosphere. That would make sense in this case, wouldn't it? In atmospheric science, change in the property of a moving mass of air because of mass of transported air that it has a different value. Change of temperature. That would actually fit perfectly. Why are you still awake, Eclipse? Were you gonna go to sleep? Beyond the long white gray hair of the stranger snapping in the advections? In the warm. There has to be a better word for warm. The warm. Balmy, not balmy. Sweltering. Advections. You're doing a Windows update. When I updated Windows is when I lost my Google Chrome. I still don't understand what happened, but it's gone forever. That's not going to happen to you, though. That's not going to happen to you. Behind the calamitous what? The calamitous. Calamitous. Calamitous something. I have never used thesaurus.com this much in a single little few paragraphs. Reminder that daylight still shone beyond the calamitous appearance. The calamitous. None of this is really what I want. The calamitous. This is not what I want either. I'm just gonna state city. That's fine. I'm gonna cry if I lose my chroma. Just set it up. I'm so sorry. Hey, Nightbot. This made my offline word processor stop functioning. What? Can't even reinstall it. So I lost all access to my old Microsoft work files, including my stories. That's painful. That's painful. Backup, backup, backup. You always gotta back up. Yeah, see, when I did the latest window update, it was not that long ago either. It was like, I don't know, 3 weeks or something. And it updated, and then Chrome just wouldn't open. Like, I click Chrome, and it just, like, you get, like, a split-second flash of a window, and it's gone. And there's just, like, no fixing it. And, like, I uninstalled, reinstalled. I, like, did an in-depth, deep clean uninstall and reinstalled. I reverted to the previous backup and tried to do it again. Nothing. It's just dead. It's just dead. Roiling. Ravel. Ravel. Ravel? Real word? Huh. A tangle. A ravel. Thank you for the word ravel. That's fantastic. The calamitous tangle of the city. That's good. That's good. Okay. I want to go through and read. I want to go through and read. I didn't even know ravel was a word. It's a very good word. I like what we have so far. Sorry, I just had to take a moment to read through that. I really am very happy with these paragraphs so far. Her hair was so raveled it looked like a rat's nest. Desperately wanted to say something, but knew with a shiver of ice down his spine that doing so would most likely end his life quite painfully. A little flash fiction. Time is it? 11:36. We keep going. We keep going. Eclipse, I hope you're asleep now. Little split fiction. On the real, I can't stop thinking about that game. Or are these the words of wisdom, Sean? We lead with a little kindness. Good night, Eclipse. Sleep well. Don't let Windows kill your Google Chrome. I want to say shockwave, but I don't know if that's too on the nose. I'm just going to say shockwave. He's grown in a shockwave. Ripple 2 on the nose too. Because it is a shockwave, but would the character know it's a shockwave? Probably not. That's the thing. With grown in a shockwave, toss Cyrus forward. Collapsing force. I don't know. It's I'm thinking like somebody in you know, a state of distress is going to be able to articulate that is ruddy colored. There's beams of sunlight. Here's a wagon, but not like here's the collapsing force or here's the shockwave. It would be not necessarily more basic than that, but more oh, I don't know, maybe less logical terminology. Ground actually rippled like water. It could. An impact? Actually, that's probably good. Earth grown and an impact tossed. I'm a writer. Yes, you are. A poet. know if tunic is the right word either, but we're gonna put it there. I'd come up with a name for some flying creature that I might want to put in here, a little brief mention. Going to switch streams now, buddy just came online. The vibes from the lower planes flow strongly and inspire you sufficiently. You too. It was wonderful meeting you. Enjoy the stream. His fingers weaved into the fabric. You are a poet. Look at you go. No, but weaved is deliberate, sunk is desperate. So we sink. We're chatting enough. Chat all you want, as often as you want. But I hope you and your buddy have fun. Where's the thing I'm looking for? This might take me a second to find. I don't have this document well organized at all. Where is what I'm looking for? Help. I literally have no idea. I can't even find it. What do I call these things? Literally all I can think of is it was a word that was very similar to, what is that, Wagyu? Wagyu beef? Wagyu beef? Oh. What are they? It's just a name for like a flying creature that I'd like half baked an idea for. And I wanted to have some reference for. Little flappy, big flappy creature. In the ground, the finger sunk into the fabric of the man's tunic, his whole lifelines, words splintered around him. Like harpy? I mean, no, but like kinda. Not like a harpy, but I guess like the size of a harpy. The fabric remains tunic, his whole lifeline was splintered around him. No, not like Horby. No. No. I don't know if I like that. Up ahead, soaring toward the escape of sunlight. Soaring toward the beckoning. There we go. The beckoning sunlight. What did I call them? A flying creature. We're gonna leave it at that for now. Up ahead, soaring toward the beckoning sunlight, a flying creature. What did I call this? The ear... eel... e... What? The what? The what? There we go. And soaring toward the beckoning sunlight, a something something passed between the Eidnost. A crack. Up ahead, soaring toward the beckoning sunlight, a something passed between the Eidnost pillars that formed the eastern gates of the city. Good lord. We're getting Horpy in the chat. You know, all things considered, it has been a Horpy little night. You have a character idea for me? Hit me. What have you got? A character that lives in the cold who always has a red nose from the cold and then goes to a hotter climate and always has a sunburn on their face. Can't escape it. So your character concept is really, really unnaturally warm nose. Rudolph is gonna sue. Rudolph is gonna sue you. No, not... Go to sleep. Don't you have work in the morning? You'll find this, Rudolph. I need another word for choking. The somethinging. That's chalking. There we go. Adjective. Hermetically sealed. Smothering is a good word. Digital cow, hello. Eating powdered noodles, isn't it like 2 something in the morning for you? Because you've lost control of your life? Oh my goodness. I'm doing well. We're writing the opening scene to a cataclysmic story, basically. Butter noodles is an excellent choice, especially as a 2 a.m., 3 a.m. snack. Oh my god, it is almost 3 a.m. Maybe it's one of those you're too tired to eat, too hungry to sleep situations. I completely know what you mean. You do what you gotta do. Well, I'd say that I'm happy to see you, but it's almost 3 in the morning. It's only almost midnight for me. And I don't have any work in the morning. So I'm free for right now. How have you been? How's your day been? How's your writing been? Brain churning over chapter 11 rewrites, reorganizing. I mean, last I checked in, you were on chapter 9, so that's still progress, right? Do you get the thing where, like, you're laying in bed trying to go to sleep? Or even just, like, trying to do other things throughout the day, but it's like the story is churning. It's churning around in your head, and until it stops churning and it settles, there's nothing else you can do. It just has to churn. Hey, Nightbot. Keep my phone notebook at my bedside just in case I need to jot something down. Yeah, that's so real. I've accepted I won't remember that good idea in the morning. Mm-hmm. That's how it goes. I always have to have something to take notes at my bedside. Always. And then voice memos too. Voice memos is what happens when I'm driving, because I have like, it depends on the time of day. It's either 35 minutes or a full hour to get to work that I commute. And so then almost every single time, not every commute, but like every day I'm going to work, either there or back, there's something that ends up in there. Do I always find it and go back and listen to it? Not necessarily. But they're out there. That in the shower. Oh my god. I want to get the waterproof notepad so bad. But then see, I feel like, because I always think about writing stuff when I'm in the shower. But then I'm like, if I have a notepad in the shower, will I leave? I'll just stay in the shower. My showers are already too long. I put a notepad in the shower, I'm never getting out of there. That's just my life. You should get shower markers to write on the walls with. Yeah, I really want them. I really want them. I've been holding myself back because it's not even expensive. I could get those things for pretty cheap. It'd be fine. Yeah, there's markers. Well, I assume they're safe for the tile too. I don't know about the grout. But 2 sides of my shower are glass. So I can write on all the glass. I think they work for tile too. You had some you could draw on the tub with? That's cool. I had, they're like little markers. Do you ever have those markers when you were little? They're kind of like felt tipped, but it's like kind of rounded. Like there's a little ball inside the end of the marker and there's felt over top of that. And then like the rolling of the ball pastes the marker juice on, the dye on. It's like those, but then they get used in the bathtub. And they also smell, and they're also soap. And so then it's like a little marker that has the little ball thing inside, but then what it's pushing through the little like felt bit is not just dye, it's also like it's scented and it's soap. So then as a kid I could like draw on myself, but then I'm also like washing myself. Genius. Yes, writing it down. Oh my goodness. You have those at work? I love them. Very satisfying to me. Nightbot, calm down. Sending too many. Nightbot, calm down. Oh my goodness. I need to have a conversation with Nightbot yet again after the stream. 6 hours? Goodbye, good night. Sleep well. Goodbye to Nightbot and Nightbot only. Oh my goodness. Good Rye? Hello? We're doing some writing. We've had a very good stream. Sucks for them. Don't you have to be up in a few hours too? You all need to go to sleep. Except for Rye. Rye, we're writing a sort of, disaster story. Here's my concept. I don't know how many of you guys have been on stream to hear this, okay? But this is the plan. This is just an intro sequence describing whatever's happening. Good night, Mr. Theories. So here's the idea. In this world, fantasy setting, dragons are born from the earth. Imagine like a pocket of magma that eventually condenses into a dragon. And the frequency of this is just extremely rare. And so this tends to outlive the memory of humans. And I want to write a story that is kind of a metaphor for humans ignoring important parts of their environment or I don't know, social and environmental awareness. And I'm using this as a metaphor for it. So basically, the setting of this is a city that is steeped in greed and avarice, and that leads them to completely ignore the signs of this thing being underneath their city. This boy tries to explain that this is happening. He's got this ability that basically allows him to see through stone. Imagine like echolocation, but it's through rock, right? So if he like presses his hands up against rock, he can see where it goes. He can see what's underneath it, which is also a very rare ability. Basically, nobody takes him seriously. And this intro sequence that I'm doing right now is his POV as he's being ushered out of the city by a stranger, as it collapses as this creature emerges from the earth. And I'd like to write two parallel stories, one happening after this intro and one leading up to it. And I want the themes to kind of complement one another as they're going. So then, you know, something that they're dealing with in the past then comes back for them in the present, and the chapters are kind of aligned with one another. They're not happening chronologically at the same time because these are two separate timelines, past and present. But the thematic material builds on itself. That's the goal. That's the extremely long elevator pitch. Sounds really cool. So dragons being formed are a natural phenomena, or do they manifest for a reason, i.e. world out of balance or something? That's something I've thought about. And I don't know. I think either way, I want it to have some sort of like, it is a worldly phenomenon. Maybe it can be egged on by something being out of balance, like a sort of like course correcting. That could be an interesting element to explore. I'm trying to challenge myself and make this a complete standalone that ends in this book, because every single time I write a story, it turns into more than one book. And I'm trying to, this is how I'm getting away from it, is including multiple stories in one with the different timelines that are presented congruently. And I'm hoping that gives me enough to play with where I'm contented and I don't try to keep adding more and more stories. Course correct for global warming, like instead of the world entering ice age to reach equilibrium, it's a whole ass dragon. I literally had this thought too. Because like I said, kind of a parallel, kind of a metaphor for environmentalism. We're ignoring the state of the climate, so that would work really well. Enjoy your Stardew, Rye, and enjoy lurking. Yeah. I think it's a cool set of things to play with. I have to do a little tinkering. A little tinkering. And it is officially past midnight. But I'm gonna go longer. I want to see if I can reach 1,000 words tonight. I'm sure I can. We've done this in what? 2.5 hours? I've been a little slow because I keep getting distracted, which is fine. As much as expected on a Twitch stream. I like the idea of past versus present. Could also dabble in themes of cycles, breaking cycles, and how the past could showcase what we did wrong. That's very much what I want to do, yeah. Very much what I want to do. I want to have a similar kind of story with the person who's ushering this boy out of the city right now as well. Yeah, that's the plan. It's just, you know, extracting that vision from my head and putting it onto paper, because right now it's very amorphous. But that is the way of things. Back to my thesaurus I go. I've used this so much today. I don't know what it is about this scene in particular. It's just, maybe it's just because it's so late. Finish eating, see if you can actually pass out now. Absolutely. I'll catch up with you soon, but sleep well. Have a good night. Just a couple hundred more words, I think. If we have any other lurkers in the stream who have been enjoying what you've been lurking, feel free to hit a follow. It can't hurt. And hang out as long as you would like to. What did I call these gates? Aednost pillars. Oh, that's not how you spell. Would he know what sulfur smells like? I'm really not so sure. Even with his nose partially covered, waves of... Sense of rotted eggs. Even with his nose partially covered, the sense of rotted eggs and chalky dust washed over him. Still burned. Still burned. His eyes and throat still burned, and tears... This is an intense little scene. We've done good work on it so far. I think I might try to pull it to a close shortly. We'll see. With his nose partially covered, the sense of rotted eggs and chalky dust washed over him. His eyes and throat still burned, and tears leaked endlessly down his cheeks. Let's not repeat eyes. Down his cheeks. And tears leaked endlessly down his cheeks. Let's do that. Only one southerly. Leaning on a trajectory to strike its southerly neighbor. Rains. There we go. Okay, so moving to the wagon. On the other side of the wagon, the stranger turned to face Cyrus. Stained his pale skin, his ice-colored eyes were red and inflamed. He said not a word to Cyrus as he bound in the reins, gripped the boy beneath his arms, and launched himself in the driver's box of the wagon with a powerful thrust of his legs. I like that. It reads well. We're almost at 1,000 words. Nice. And forward. Oh, how do I want to explain this? Relinquishing. With one hand free. As long as he landed upon the ponies back. Fixing scream, the stranger ducked Cyrus in front of one hand, gripped the pony's mane on the other. This launched, he leaned forward, leaning to Cyrus. And free. It's so late, I'm repeating sentences. The resulting clamor of the wagon now cut loose. Tumble. No. Wagon now cut loose and tumbling across. That's not and tumbling across the street behind them. Made Cyrus flinch. But then the northern Edenos pillar groaned as its base gave out. Stones rained from above, and flames roared from behind as the Punai bore Cyrus and the stranger through the eastern gates and onto the road beyond. I think I like it. And we've written 1,100 words. What's a synonym for scream? Howls, shrieks, wails, ooh. Pillars collided in great splintering of stone, desperate wails. Pillars collided in great splintering of stone, desperate wails of the doomed. Collided in a great splintering of stone, desperate wails of the doomed riding on waves of heat towards Cyrus. Pillars glided in a great splintering of stone, desperate wails of the doomed riding on waves of heat towards Cyrus. Around him and the stranger, several other lucky escapees rode or ran for the distant woods. And from behind them, from the depths of the dying city, came the earth-shattering roar of the creature Cyrus had tried and failed to warn them of. How do you end a chapter like this? And from behind them, from the depths of the dying city, came the earth-shattering roar of the creature Cyrus had tried and failed to warn them of. From behind them, from the depths of the dying city, came the earth-shattering roar of the creature Cyrus had tried and failed to warn them of. Another word of plume. Plume? Plume. Not the plume I want. Spout? Cascade? Torrent. Torrent could be good. I gotta find another billowing synonym. Good lord. Billow. Billow. Swelling? Maybe not swelling. Swelling. Billow. Billowing. Oh, for goodness sake. From behind them, from the depths of the dying city, came the earth-shattering roar of the creature Cyrus had tried and failed to warn them of. A magnificent torrent of molten earth arced through the sky above the... I'm just gonna say... Okay. I think that's a first chapter. 1,200 words. That's pretty good. That's pretty awesome. I want to read it real quick. I want to read it. The city was burning. Cyrus could see pillars of smoke and flame and heaving cascades of rubble from his vantage over the stranger's shoulder. Walls moved like liquid, and towers evaporated like cinders blown away on the wind. The chasm was opening some several hundred paces away, glowing red and pulsing. As it yawned, the earth groaned a guttural protest. Cracks spiderwebbed through once gleaming marble streets, and the multi-storied buildings on either side leaned inwards, poised to kiss or crumble. Cyrus reached out toward them, fingers splayed as if he could halt them, as if he could save them from their doom. Every step of the stranger's furious escape sent a lurch through Cyrus's body, skewing his vision, snapping his teeth as he cried out to the people clinging desperately to second-story balconies. He pushed against the stranger's shoulder, against his grip on his waist, but the man was far older and stronger than Cyrus, his restraint immovable. Red light flashed, and a plume of molten rock erupted from the chasm. Where it brushed against the building, stone melted and smoke blossomed. In the distance, similar iridescent flourishes brightened the grey clouds that had claimed the sky. The stranger veered to the left as one of the towers of the gem wardens split across the middle, spitting bricks the size of wagons into the smoky air. Tremors from their impacts rattled through Cyrus's bones, and the spray of rock and marble and ash thrown up by their displacement reduced the visage of the collapsing street and widening chasm to smears of greys and reds. Ash and dust surged into Cyrus's mouth and throat. His eyes watered and he coughed, hacking up flecks of black phlegm. He squeezed his eyes shut, rubbing them in an effort to ease their stinging, and when he opened them his world was tilting, keeling to the side as the stranger threw him with a merciless thump into the bed of a wagon. A Panay, abandoned along with the wagon, bucked and cried, thrashing against its yoke. The stranger mounted the driver's box, and with a swipe of his blade, the lead split in two and the beast in its wagon hurled forward. Cyrus heaved himself up on the side of the wagon, bracing his arms upon its lip, staring back at the ruddy glow and avalanching stone that had, hours ago, been his home. The wagon lurched as it and the Panay raced over lumps strewn across the city streets. He peered over the edge of the wagon as the lumps passed rapidly behind them. One bore the clothes of a grandier, one end of it a bloody smear where a chunk of rock had collided with it. Another wore the simple clothes of a peasant, soot-stained and charred. Vomit splashed across the marble street as Cyrus's stomach heaved. He let himself fall back into the wagon bed, throat burning, eyes clenched shut and hands pressed over his ears. Waves of heat billowed over him, curling the hair on his arms and sucking moisture from his open mouth. Cutting through the protection of his palms came the shrill cries of desperate people and he flinched as something slammed into the side of the wagon. The Panay shrieked, but did not deviate even as the wagon fishtailed. Cyrus relinquished his ears to grip onto the wagon's sides, cracking open an eye to glimpse what waited ahead. Beyond the long, white-grey hair of the stranger snapping in the sweltering advections came suffused beams of sunlight, a reminder that daylight still shone beyond the calamitous ravel of the city. The earth groaned, and an impact tossed Cyrus forward into the back of the stranger. His fingers sunk into the fabric of the man's tunic, his sole lifeline as the world splintered around him. Up ahead, soaring toward the beckoning sunlight, an unnamed flying creature passed between the Edenos pillars that formed the eastern gates of the city. A crack was spreading up the northernmost of the pillars, and the stranger snapped the reins of the Panai as dust shivered from the deepening fissures. All Cyrus could do was hold tight to the stranger, sending out directionless prayers that the pillar would hold long enough for them to escape. He looked over his shoulder at the ruddy clouds that had consumed the rest of the city. 2 more wagons and a carriage were breaking free of the smothering smoke, reins snapping, drivers urging their beasts of burden onward. From beyond them came a rumbling like thunder and an upward surge of red light, and something in the sky crackled and sizzled. Hurtling out of the nebulous disaster came chunks of smoldering rock and debris, striking the streets and buildings like bolts loosed from a bow. A Panai screamed as one blasted the rear of its wagon to smoldering splinters, and Cyrus quickly turned back to the Edenos pillars, burying half his face in the stranger's back. Even with his nose partially covered, the scents of rotted eggs and chalky dust washed over him. His eyes and throat still burned, and tears leaked endlessly down his cheeks. The stranger leaned forward as if willing the Panai to race faster, and Cyrus leaned with him. The cracks in the northernmost pillar had spread to its summit, and the entirety of the pillar tilted, leaning on a trajectory to strike its southerly neighbor. Cyrus felt the muscles of the stranger tense. Passing through the gates before the collapsing pillar obscured them was impossible. Smoking chunks of rock struck the street on either side of the wagon as the stranger turned to face Cyrus. Soot stained his pale skin, and his ice-colored eyes were red and inflamed. He said not a word to Cyrus as he abandoned the reins, gripped the boy beneath his arms, and launched himself from the driver's box of the wagon with a powerful thrust of his legs. With Cyrus in his arms, he landed upon the Panai's back. The poor creature bucked and screamed, but the stranger tucked Cyrus against his front with one hand and gripped the Panai's mane with his other, and would not be dislodged. He leaned forward, relinquishing Cyrus as he pressed the boy between his body and the Panai's. With one free hand, he grasped his sword and swung it backwards. The resultant clamor of the wagon, now cut loose and tumbling across the street behind them, made Cyrus flinch. Free of the wagon's extra weight, the Panai raced forwards, its hoofed feet careening across the ashy marble. Above them, the northern Edenos pillar groaned as its base gave out. Stones rained from above and flames roared from behind as the Panai bore Cyrus and the stranger through the eastern gates and onto the road beyond. The pillars collided with a great splintering of stone, desperate wails of the doomed riding on waves of heat toward Cyrus. Around him and the stranger, several other lucky escapees rode or ran for the distant woods. And behind them, from the depths of the dying city, came the earth-shattering roar of the creature Cyrus had tried and failed to warn them of. A magnificent torrent of molten earth arced through the sky above the billowing clouds of ash as the dragon finally broke free. I think that's a pretty epic intro. I'm very happy with this. And it's late. If anyone's still be lurking and hasn't followed, don't be shy to hit that follow button. And maybe catch another stream, but I should find someone to raid. Nobody that I follow is streaming right now. Who is streaming? I don't know any of these people, so I'd kind of just be sending you all onwards to someone. Let's send you guys to Rider of Weirdness. Why not? Why not? Start raid. Enjoy the raid, you guys, and thank you for watching.